Good morning, everyone. I'm Charlotte Lehman, and this is Good Morning Especially. Have you seen the meme, Good Morning to Everyone, except? This podcast is the opposite. Instead of except, we're saying especially. The world can be a tough place, so every weekday in January, or maybe forever, depending on how this limited series goes, we are here to start your day with some positivity and gratitude. Good morning to everyone, especially my grandmother. I recently moved from Colorado back to my home state of New York. Colorado just didn't feel right anymore, and I had the opportunity to live in and fix up my grandmother's house. My Gaga died back at the end of 2020, although not from COVID, and for the last year of her life, she lived with my parents. That means that her house has been unoccupied for around 4 years. My family still has it, and it definitely could use some TLC. I have wanted a house for years. Anyone who knows me can tell you this. Mostly, I wanted extra space for the dogs, but I also wanted the feeling of having something that's mine, something less transient than apartments. Even though the house technically isn't mine, living in my Gaga's house feels like mine on some emotional level, and most importantly, it feels right. I miss my Gaga a lot. I have a lot of big feelings, and it really shows when someone dies. It feels like just last week that my Gramps died, even though it was almost 10 years ago, and it feels like literally yesterday that my Gaga died. I think about her all the time, and I really wish that I could talk to her just once more. I regularly tell my grandparents who are still alive that they are not allowed to die because I won't be able to handle it. They always remind me, though, that they don't have much control over that. Living in Gaga's house feels like being surrounded by her in all the best ways. She actually had a pretty complicated relationship with this house, but I think if she knew I was living here now, she would love it. She took pride in strong family connections, and despite being the most stoic person I have ever met, her feelings would always come through when she was proud of her family. This house was built by my great-great-grandfather, my Gramps' grandfather, and even though that's not my Gaga's side of the family, she still loved family connection and was just so proud of her family, and I think that she would be kind of proud that I am living here today and that the house is still in the greater family. Last week, I added an apple slicer to my grocery list for a recipe that I wanted to make, and then I thought to myself, wait, Gaga might have an apple slicer, and I can save myself a few dollars. I opened a kitchen drawer, and there it was, an apple slicer that she had had for years. Gaga, thank you for leaving me your apple slicer. A couple days ago, I needed a measuring cup. I looked in a few different drawers and I didn't see any until I lifted an overturned bowl and there were 2 wee little quarter cups, liquid measuring cups, a perfect size. I texted a picture to my mom and she told me just how much my Gaga loved those cups and that she used them all the time. Gaga, thank you for leaving me your measuring cups. While looking through a drawer in search of an old photo, I came across a letter she had written to her cousin when she was around 6 years old. Reading that aloud with my sisters was something really special. There's always a treasure in this house. Sometimes it's a measuring cup or an apple slicer, something practical, and sometimes it's a decades-old letter written by a child you never knew who became an adult you loved dearly. Every small thing I find feels like a wink and a grin from my Gaga. Not a smile, but a grin. These little winks remind me of her in such a happy way, not a sad grief way. She is still looking out for me, and it is just an incredible comfort. So today, good morning to everyone, especially my Gaga. I'm Charlotte Lehman, and this is Good Morning Especially. Every day, we're here to tell everyone good morning, especially to a certain someone. This podcast is a group project, so I want to hear who you're saying good morning to. You can email us at goodmorningespeciallypod@gmail.com. Either write out an email or record a voice memo and send it for me to play on the podcast. I cannot wait to hear who you're wishing a good morning.